Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host Tom Howe and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news contents that we've enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. On today's show, we join community champion Michael Bunney, who celebrates the vibrancy of Cornwall as we head into the festive season. We check in with John Brown, CEO of Cornwall Chamber of Commerce, who provides his reaction to the recent budget on behalf of the Duchy, alongside Kasia Elliott, General Manager at Fowey Hall Hotel, who gives us a local picture from a hospitality perspective. As well as that, we take a trip into the world of self-assessment tax returns with Ruth Forrest from HMRC, who encourages early filing ahead of the upcoming deadline. We hear from Amanda Masters, area fundraiser at Children's Hospice Southwest, who discusses Christmas tree recycling, plus fundraising events like Breakfast with Santa. And we welcome Molly Sexton, a student at Falmouth University, who reports on protests in the town against AI's lack of creativity and environmental impact.
NEWSWAVE.
First this week though, community champion Michael Bunney joins us to celebrate the vibrant spirit across Cornwall as we head into Christmas. From his decade as a local councillor to teaching Cornish history, Michael highlights incredible acts of volunteering, from food banks and rowing clubs to events like St Austell St Piran's Day and bustling Cornish language groups.
NEWSWAVE.
Mitten day, Tom. What a beautiful day. And my name's Michael Bunney and I'm from Goran and I'm chairman of St Goran Old Cornwall Society. I also teach Cornish history right across Cornwall and down at the university as well. I'm very involved with Goran Rowing Club and various other hats. And I think I've come to chat about all the brilliant things that are happening all over our area, Goran, the Roseland, Cornwall as a whole, as we build up to the fantastic period that is Christmas. So I guess I should say Nadelit Lowen ha Blethen Naweth Da in advance, which means Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in Cornish.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And you're such a passionate supporter of local events, local community, all the great things that are happening on our doorstep. But as well as that, in various roles, you've represented those areas too and tried to break down barriers and support people with different challenges. Just give us a snapshot of your history in the area and things that you're involved with now.
Yeah, thank you. So I've been a councillor for 10 years. I was a Goran Parish councillor for nearly 10 years and I've done 2 stints as Cornwall councillor, one for Goran and Mevagizzi and one for St Hugh, St Ewan and Grandpound. And I didn't stand again in May because I wanted to focus more on community work and teaching. But it's been a real honour to represent our lovely little part of the world and be involved. And community is my really big passion. I think we have such fantastic, strong communities where people love living together, love looking after each other. And I think we should celebrate that. And whether it's as a councillor or by running our old Cornwall Society, I've always just felt that I want to do my bit. I was born and bred here. My family are all come from Goran, Mevagizzi, St Hugh area, going back, hundreds. I've traced us back to the 1500s. And my family were always massively involved with Goran Cricket Club especially. And I just want to do my bit to stay part of the community. I love being busy. I love helping people. And I get huge amounts from that as well. And I think we live in such a beautiful, distinct and special part of the world. And I love helping Cornwall and love helping our communities and being a major part of that. And I think my revelation probably is how amazed I am by every village, every community, every town, how much people do, whether it's St Austell with St Austell St Piran's Day that's coming up in March, or our villages. We have such hugely high levels of volunteering. And I think, we are rural, and sometimes it can feel, on a wild day like yesterday, you can feel a bit stuck out on a limb. And I think pulling together, helping each other out and connecting is at the absolute core of what makes living in Cornwall so incredibly special.
The national narrative is slightly different, isn't it, sometimes, where we discuss things like the cost of living or employment or homelessness or whatever it might be, immigration. But in the local areas, in these pockets of community, there is so much resilience. There's so much hope. There's so many people working so hard to make lives better for other people as well. And you are so right. There are so many examples of that just in these few postcodes that we're talking about.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I know nationally, internationally, these are tough times at the minute. What I would say is they've often been tough times. If you look back through history, I've taught history for 25 years. There are loads of positives too. But my key belief really is that whatever is happening up at Westminster or on internationally, locally, in our communities, in our villages, we absolutely have to pull together. And I think, we are out on a promontory. That's where the word Cornwall comes from, or Cerno. And I don't rely on any government to do anything. I think if we want something done, we have to pull together and we have to make it happen, whether it's running our toilets like we do in Gorenhaven, or setting up a community bus, or setting up community groups, or, coffee mornings for people to reach out, rowing clubs, cricket clubs, St Austell St Piran's Day, whatever it might be. I think there's a belief here that actually, number one, we can, but number two, we should get on, organise brilliant things, link up together and celebrate living in our wonderful part of the world. And I think that challenge of being in a rural area is a huge opportunity, most importantly, because, the connections, whether it's family connections. I was really privileged to be asked to go to the Roseland School last Wednesday to do the guest speech at their Year 11 awards ceremony for the students that got their GCSE certificates from last year. And I loved being at the Roseland. I loved being at Gorham Primary School too. And it was a real privilege, a real honour to go back and do the speech. But what I was amazed by was still how many of the families I know, how many of the children I know, how many of the teachers I know and have grown up with. And, I don't want to sound exclusive at all, because we have brilliant members of our community that turned up yesterday and have thrown themselves in to whichever village they live in. And those new people are so welcome, particularly if they respect Cornwall and if they celebrate Cornwall and recognise what makes here so distinct, not better or worse, but so special. And, I'm eternally grateful, really, in all of our communities for the huge amount of work that so many people from all different backgrounds put in together. And there are hard times. There are people with a cost of living crisis. And I think at Christmas, I am inspired by my family's Methodist background. I do think at Christmas, even more so, we should think of the less fortunate in the world and in our communities too. So St Austell Food Bank, Truro Food Bank, I've supported them over the years. They're doing amazing work. They really need donations, whether it's food or whether it's financial. And I'm amazed by how much help, how much advice, how much guidance we run in our communities. And let's do that even more intensely at Christmas, because, Christmas means so much, the birth of Jesus, but it certainly means thinking about the messages for me even more, which is about caring and loving each other. And just a quick political bit, all the nastiness and all the division that you see Westminster and internationally, we are surely better than that. And I think pulling together and caring together has to be the way forward.
What's stuck with you from 2025? What have you learnt about Cornwall that you didn't already know? What's kind of what sticks in your mind when you think of the year that's just gone by?
Oh, it's a great question. Yeah, I turned 50. There's one thing that sticks in my mind. So 50 years of being involved. I think it's that wonderful connection that there is between people and place. So I'm very fortunate that I started some new Cornish history lessons in 2025, and that probably is my big passion at the minute. I'm a bard of the Cornish Gorseth, but have been really lucky to launch a new class in Goran and also a new one in St Austell, and then in January I'm doing a new one in Truro. And to see the excitement and the interest and the passion from all of those communities for Cornish history, to learn our distinct angle on the last 3,000 years has been incredibly humbling. I was a bit worried that, I'm going to set it up and two people are going to come, one my dad and one my cousin. But we've had a brilliant turnout at those sessions, and our evening meetings we do in St Goran Old Cornwall Society as well have just been fantastic. We've got our Christmas meal coming up at the Barley next Wednesday, and it's fully booked. And I think for me, 2025, those brilliant community events, but for me to see Cornish history not just continue but thrive is incredibly heartwarming. And there's a little bit of me as a history obsessive. I was a rare child in that I always loved history. We'd go to St Austell once a week. We were allowed to buy one thing, and I'd go to the bookshop and buy a history book and look after it and read it. And I think that to see the passion for Cornish history get more and more. The Cornish language, another thing as well. I'm very lucky to do a Cornish language group over St Agnes on a Tuesday evening, and that's fully booked too. So to see the passion and the distinctiveness not just survive but thrive is hugely heartwarming. And I think the positivity in Cornwall, despite it being difficult times, and the pulling together, for me, is the revelation of 2025.
It is a really exciting time for Cornwall and its people, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's always a hard time. Economically, we can't say that these aren't difficult times. Internationally, they are difficult. But I think, as you say, Tom, the positivity and the energy and the hope that we have here is truly inspiring. And we could all spend the rest of our lives moaning and complaining and, thinking pessimistically about whatever the future holds. But you look at those achievements, Muraz Braz, it's brilliant that the Cornish language is thriving, and not just as, a kind of a bit of an academic interest for a few people, but as a day-to-day element. And I think it brings people together. Likewise, the investment in Cornwall is really good. We've had great shared prosperity funding in the past as well. And if I've learnt one thing, it's I don't really care about Westminster politics, to be honest. I think if we pull together and if we show a united front, then that power and that potential of Cornwall can be seen. I really think people are more caring on a local level. I also think people are more genuinely understanding on a local level. So devolution, I'm fully for it, for the parishes, for the towns, but for Cornwall as a whole, because I think by pulling together, we can work better on a local level. I mean, I don't understand, the Northwest. I love the Lake District, but I don't understand what's right for there. But I certainly understand, I think, what could be right for here. And by working together and pulling together, you get that sense of connection, and you get the sense of an answer and a solution that is slightly different from other parts of the United Kingdom and the world, but it is right for Cornwall. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about 2026. So much more going on, so much done, so much more to do.
Absolutely. That's the good thing, isn't it, about inspiration? It always gives you a new avenue to go down, or something exciting to sort of chase, doesn't it? Where can people find out more information about some of the things that you've mentioned? Obviously, the events kind of speak for themselves, but your classes and your walking tours and all of these things, where can they connect with you? How best can they support you in 26?
Yeah, so my name is Michael Bunney, and it's not an unusual name in Goran and beyond, but an unusual name nationally, I guess. So you can find me on Facebook really, really easily, or Instagram, and I put all the postings on there about Cornish history lessons, Truro, St Austell, Goran. Next week we've got fantastic Cakebreads carols, which is moving to the village hall because sadly there was the Cakebreads fire. But that's on Friday at Goranhaven Village Hall, Memorial Village Hall, that was the Institute. And it's brilliant that the community have pulled together. I'm running a raffle for the RNLI. We've got Matt Fox playing the piano. We've got Helen Bodfish singing. We've got Carenza playing the violin. And it's brilliant that we adapt and we keep going. And that's such a lovely opportunity to celebrate Christmas. Our churches and our chapels, so much going on over Christmas as well. They do such a brilliant job throughout the year at the very heart of our communities. So yeah, have a look on Facebook, have a look on Instagram. I also put everything I can in the parish magazines, but I mean, it's hard because there is so much going on. Whether it's we had a brilliant talk 2 weeks ago, Gary Mitchell for the Old Cornwall Society, on boat building in Portmelon, raising money for our Old Cornwall Society, but we gave it all to Mevagissey Museum. So I think, just look on the notice boards, look on Facebook, but every single village. How exciting that the Ship Inn has reopened as a community enterprise in Portlow. There is so much going on, and I feel so privileged to be part of it.
NEWSWAVE.
Now, Cornwall Chamber of Commerce CEO John Brown has reacted to last month's budget with cautious optimism. He notes prominent mentions for the Duchy, including a £30 million Kerno Industrial Fund and health centre investments. John joins us now on NEWSWAVE to give us his thoughts on the high and low points of the announcement, and is followed by Kasia Elliott, General Manager at the nearby Fowey Hall Hotel, who helps provide a local picture on another of Cornwall's major industries, hospitality.
NEWSWAVE.
So last year I was calling upon the Chancellor to discover where Cornwall is. This year we have firmly hit the agenda of the Chancellor and Westminster with several mentions of Cornwall, and specifically and importantly the announcement of a fund which we believe to be around £30 million for a Kerno industrial fund that is going to be primarily focused on the green industries, marine, critical minerals, which is positive news for Cornwall. Alongside this, we understand that business rates will be retained 100% by our local authority, by Cornwall Council, which means that that income will be remaining here in Cornwall and spent on Cornwall services. Beyond that, we know that there is going to be an investment into a local neighbourhood health centre for Truro, one of the other key mentions of Cornwall. But a more overarching picture is one where people now need to get their calculators out and work out what this budget means for them. On the whole, business leaders will be sat looking at this going, okay, it's not as bad as it could have been. We understand that there is going to be a rise in minimum wage, and organisations are going to need to once again prepare for that. But there is no business leader out there that doesn't want to reward their team more effectively. It's whether they have got the incentives to also grow and allow that growth to take place alongside that extra cost burden. And today we heard a focus on scale up capital, on encouraging British people to invest in British businesses by making more of that cash, that savings income, especially through things such as ISAs, available for investments into British business. So we're seeing a focus there on enticement of investment into British organisations for that, in particular, that scale up capital. On the flip side, if you were looking at employee ownership as a potential exit route, whereas previously, about 12 months ago, it was free of any capital gains tax, now that relief has been reduced by 50%. Equally, dividends payments are going to see a increase of about 2 percentage points coming through as well. So there is a light and a dark for this for business leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs. There is obviously a focus on investment. There is obviously a focus on making sure that that scale-up capital and finance is made available. But equally, some of those incentives have reduced and some of those exit options are looking less appealing. Ultimately, from a Cornwall perspective, it was positive to hear the Chancellor focus on Cornwall so much in this budget. We're keen to understand and see how that £30 million is going to be allocated. And we are absolutely standing here and saying the business community is ready to work alongside local government to make sure that that investment is acutely commercial and is going to see a return being paid. And we are looking forward to digging into that detail and working with our local authority to make sure that that investment gets bang for its buck.
NEWSWAVE.
Kasia, let's begin with learning a bit more about yourself and Fowey Hall Hotel. Would you mind just setting the scene for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So Fowey Hall Hotel is a part of luxury family hotels. We are specializing in obviously family and children markets, but also the dogs, the couples, the travelers, the grandparents. So the Fowey is 60 bedrooms. It is the biggest hotel in our group. We've got another 4, and they all sort of southwest. We've got one in Suffolk, just very oddly. So most of our clients is sort of the luxury market. So it's your guests who normally would go to your 5-star properties on their own and then looking for a luxury experience with their families, with their young children specifically. We've got crash on site. We offer countless activities for your little ones. Pools, lovely spa as well. We're just opening the gym. So a lot of happening here. I've been with the company for 9 years. I used to work in our property in Wiltshire, and I transferred here last year in October, actually. It was a little bit of a new adventure for me, especially with seasonality of the business, with Cornwall, getting to know the team, the business, obviously the dynamic here in Cornwall. That was a good new change.
Wonderful. Although it must be challenging and it comes with its sort of challenges, like I said, at least you've been to some wonderful parts of the world there. Fowey is just marvellous. So what in your experience then makes Cornwall, since you've been here, such a unique destination, having worked in other areas compared to other parts of the UK?
I mean, it's just a different type of living. People absolutely love it. You almost see the guest coming and relaxing instantly, seeing the view. We are very fortunate here at Fowey with the view. We are on the top of the hill, so we've got ocean. It's absolutely beautiful. And I feel the beaches, the lovely sort of, I suppose it's nostalgia as well of the childhood, of family holidays. And I think that's what people are looking for right now. It's this time with the family, is this relax, it's being in a wilderness. It's just a beautiful part of the world. It's it's remote but it's accessible, and I think that's what is great. And actually with the climate change, I think like Cornwall is benefiting with that a little bit, because it's beautiful weather most of the summer in here, and it sort of trickles into your May, into your September as well, so it's extending a little bit this holiday time for people.
We talk in Cornwall, there's a lot of narrative about seasonal staffing and seasonal approaches. How do you balance maintaining such high standards of service with the pressures of staffing and seasonal demand? Yeah,
so it's becoming more and more challenging. Obviously, since the Brexit and since a restriction of the movement, we see a huge change, because we used to rely a lot on your sort of holiday staff, coming from different countries, coming for a bit of money, a bit of a holiday work and going back home. That's become more of the challenge in recent years. So we're relying much more on the local colleges and local students. We're trying to engage with local schools as well. We're lucky to have a school on our doorstep as well. So we go for school fairs to make sure that we talk about hospitality. We get these young people younger and make them understand it's a great industry to work in. We've got very good core team, and we are very fortunate in here that we've got a core team who work all year round, and we rely on them a lot. We provide them a lot of training as well. And then for the busy season, we've got luckily our own sort of students who we've got for quite a long time coming back from universities, coming from school. So that's how we deal with that. We've got some casual workers as well. So we sort of pull on this pool of people when we need them, when hotel is busier, and that's work with their other life requirements and, the childcare, the schools and everything else. But it is becoming more and more demanding now. And we also rely slightly on the local agencies as well, especially in the summer for chefs, for housekeeping team. So in this peak time, we try to make sure we are as efficient as we can.
Okay, what's really great is there's this network of loads of different businesses that are working together, talking to each other, sharing insight. How then, in maybe some of these conversations that you're having with other organisations and businesses, how would you describe the wider state of the hospitality sector in Cornwall, and what are some of the other big challenges that hospitality is facing in the area now?
So we are working very closely with Cornwall Hospitality Collective, and it's a great network of other businesses, and also we use quite a lot of their courses and networking events to make sure we talk to each other, and we present united front as a Cornwall Hospitality. I mean, the challenges, it's the never ending costs, to be honest, and the margin are becoming more and more narrow. And obviously being in Cornwall, I don't think many of our clients, our guests realize that actually our products are slightly more expensive because of transportation. They're not based in here. It's just the simple things like our laundry company is actually based in Bristol. So they deliver every 2 days nowadays from Bristol all the way here. So that increases our costs. And there's so many other suppliers like that. We also try to use as many as we can local suppliers. So obviously, the fishermen, they can't cut their prices. They can't sometimes match the prices from the big corporate industries, but we try to support the local businesses as much as we can. So that's a big challenge. And obviously the margins are smaller and smaller. And with train fares, it's luckily they introduce the freeze on the train fares, which will help us because we are so close to the power station, have a great connection to London. But international flights become so accessible again after post-Brexit. So it is a huge competition for us. So we're trying to tap into this short holiday stays. We used to see people staying for longer. Now it's a little bit more traveling around Cornwall, which is great because, as long as the demand comes to Cornwall and people stay here for a few days, go elsewhere, support other businesses, that's what matters the most. But I think, the ever so growing inflation and the cost of living, that's the huge challenge for us.
But initiatives like the Hospitality Collective are so important, aren't they? Because we've recently seen the liquidation of Visit Cornwall.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult industry to plot a way forward and as many industries are. So it's absolutely vital that there is something like that for people to lean into and work with and benefit from as well.
Oh, absolutely. And, they are so supportive. It's, it's amazing what these guys are doing. And they've got such a limited resources sometimes with, they've got their own day jobs and they sacrifice a lot of time to make sure that they actually help local businesses and, sort of connect whole Cornwall, because actually quite a spread out county. And we normally wouldn't maybe talk to someone who is in Penzance or Land's End. And it's great to have this connection, have this network, but also the courses they're offering, it starts from your wine course all the way through the running sexual harassment course now, which is amazingly important in our industry for young people to understand and realize, what is appropriate, what isn't, but also a financial support, HR support, and they are so responsive as well. You name it, they ask us what we need. They tell us what is that you need rather than coming to us with ideas. Obviously, they've got great ideas as well, but it's helping with apprenticeships, it's helping with training, it's helping with going to schools. They were actually the ones who connected me with quite a lot of local schools and sort of giving hospitality the name it deserves. It's one of the biggest industries here in Cornwall, yet I feel it's still, in the last 10, 20 years, it's become sort of an additional job rather than a career for so many people. And I think it's so important that young people nowadays see it as a great career and great opportunity. And it opens so many doors. And even if someone just comes in and work for a few years during the university or school, it teaches young people new skills and how to talk to people, how to be confident, how to handle themselves. And it's skills they take forever really with them. And if they stay in this industry, it's a great industry to work in. So, hopefully we can keep few people, and we need chefs, we need housekeepers, but we also need accountants, we need marketers. There's so many other jobs which people don't realize are associated with hospitality. And I feel like Cornwall Collective is really helping to spread the word. And like you said, with the Visit Cornwall gap in the market, I feel it's very needed for someone to unite the Cornish businesses and make sure we've got one voice.
And perhaps more so now than ever. We're talking in the immediate aftermath, aren't we, of the budget, which was announced just yesterday. So plenty of things that I'm sure are going around in your head and in meetings that you're having at the moment. I wonder if I could just pick your brains about a couple of things, and we'll just lead with something like the national minimum wage rise, frozen tax thresholds as well until 2031. Do you see the wage increase as a positive step for things like staff morale, or is it becoming a bit of a challenge for operators to keep pace?
I mean, both. It's always welcome step. The cost of livings are going up. It's important that people are being paid fairly, and we try to make sure we pay our people fairly. So it is obviously welcome for so many people. It's also a huge obstacle for us, for the businesses, because obviously, like we said before, the margins are becoming smaller. It's harder to make sure that we also increase the salaries of our skilled employees in line of minimum wage, because the gap is getting smaller and smaller. And that's the biggest challenge right now, that, we work very hard to sustain our team, to train them, to pay them fairly. But actually, it's just becoming slightly harder to make sure that there is a value in their worth and what we're paying them as well. So it is a huge challenge for us as a business, but of course it's welcome for lower paid employees as well, to make sure that they can afford their life, really, because it's becoming really expensive, and we all know that, and we're all struggling with that, to be honest. And it's very welcome as well with the business rates. It's not as good as we expected, but it's not as bad as we expected in some scenarios. We prepared for the worst possible scenario, so it's always some sort of relief is always welcome. We're still working through what this actually means for our business, where we sit with it. So it's still a lot of work, but obviously any help from government is always welcome. It would be great if in the future they would look also at VATs for hospitality industry, because we are a country which charges one of the highest rate of VAT of the food and drink. And because of that, we can compete with some of our other European countries and our competitors there, just even across the pond in France, so it's becoming a challenge. Yeah.
Knowing what we know now from the budget and about business rates and all sorts of different things that have been thrown in your everyone's direction, what measures would you like to see? I suppose this is a very open-ended question, but what measures would you like to see from the government to help hospitality businesses in particular thrive? I'm sure there's a number of different things that could make life easier for you, but what are sort of the headlines where you are?
I think it would be very helpful from a government to absolutely look at the VAT relief for us as an industry, because this is, we all hear the stats about free pubs closing every week in England. I remember coming to this country about 13, 14 years ago, and I laughed to my parents that there is no shop in every village, but there is a pub, and these pubs were always full. And nowadays, unfortunately, we don't see it. I feel like people are not going out that often. And, it's really heartbreaking, because that's always have been such an ethos in this country, And we're not talking about obviously drinking or anything. It's about socializing. It's about celebrating our friends, our families. And I feel like that's what we're losing. And, counties like Cornwall really relying on this family break, or this making memories. And it's so important that people still do it and, still go for the short times, holidays away for the weekend to celebrate their family, they celebrate themselves and have a little bit of a time off and relax. So it would be very useful to look at the VAT changes, but also how to support a local holiday destinations in this country, be it Devon, be it Cornwall, and how much they can actually, support us with some national and international advertisement, because, we can see many countries nowadays doing beautiful adverts about themselves and getting them out there. And I feel like this is really needed for us as well. And we see a lot of German market coming now our way, a lot of French guests as well. So I think it's very important that our government is promoting us abroad on the national scene as well.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add that you think is important for people to hear, or anything that we might not have covered?
Gosh, I think the last thing which just came to my mind was actually about the movement of people, and the recent changes to the immigration law, because I think we with the budget, with all the changes with day-to-day life, we're almost forgetting about that, how important it was for us as industry that we could still pull on this pool of people which we could bring to this country on skilled sponsorship visas. And actually this route is also closing for us now, because it's become so difficult to find the skilled workers abroad and to support them to come here. And, we've got some employees on the skills visa here, and actually listening to their stories and how unsettling it is for them as well, I think it would be very welcome to actually, from government, to actually have a look and revise these rules, because we have lost as a hospitality a very crucial skills, which we can't regain for next almost 10 to 20 years, because we need to train our own employees and young people here. And as we discussed already, it's harder to get them into working and staying in hospitality. So I do feel like this is something that we are struggling with. But it's such a beautiful part of the world, and it's loved by so many people, and I hope we're gonna see the tourists coming year after year, because it's so important, and it's gorgeous in here, isn't it?
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, with less than 2 months to go until the self-assessment deadline, HMRC is asking people, what's your filing style, as they file their tax return for the 2024 to 2025 tax year. Is yours already in, or are you someone who always has a last-minute panic? Here to encourage you to start now, if you're due to complete a self-assessment, is Ruth Forrest.
NEWSWAVE.
Self-assessment is the process by which people tell HMRC about income that they're receiving that isn't taxed at source. So, for most of us, we go out to work, we do the 9 to 5 thing, whatever we do, and we get paid a salary, and the employer takes care of that bit. But if you are self-employed, or you're getting different types of income where that doesn't happen, you need to report them to us, because we don't know about it. So self-employed is the most obvious example that people will know of that, but there are other reasons as well, and they might include things like income from property, maybe foreign income or pensions that people get, maybe capital gains that people need to tell us about, and there's a big long list of things. So if you're not sure, you can visit gov.uk and search check if I need to do a self-assessment, and then there's a kind of Q&A tool that you can fill in. If you've done one last year, the chances are you do need to do one again, and you're probably already aware of that. But the main cue that we would say to people is if something's changed, so if you've got a source of income that stopped or started or something over the last tax year from April to April, then it's worth doing a little check to see if you need to do one, or indeed if you don't need to do one anymore.
So how do you do a self-assessment, and what help is there available for those needing support completing it?
So most people will submit their self-assessment tax returns online now via the gov.uk website. If you had to do one, you would go there, you would register to create a personal tax account, and you would be able to file the return on there, and it's fairly quick and easy to do that. Obviously, we understand some people can't do that for accessibility and other reasons, so there is still the option to file a paper copy of the tax return if you need to do that, and online's not an option for you. Whatever method you're using, though, it's really important to say that there's lots and lots of support available. We have got lots of help sheets available with the tax return now. As you're going through and filling it in, there are little buttons underneath each question that you can click on, and they expand to give you more information about exactly what to put in each box, what we want on there. We have got a YouTube channel now, which people might have seen, hmrc.gov.uk on YouTube, and there's lots of videos there, including some that you can actually sort of follow through in real time that show you how to register for self-assessment, how to submit a return. We've got web chat available. We have webinars that we host on certain subjects, and we keep all the recordings of those so people can refer back and have a look at them if they can't attend live. And of course, we do still have the traditional contact centres there if you're digitally excluded, or if it was easier for you for accessibility to speak to a human, give us a call and we'll always be happy to help you.
Now, everybody will approach differently when filing their self-assessment. What styles do HMRC tend to see?
Now, this is interesting because they've done a bit of research on this now to figure out how people file returns and when they file them and things like that. And they've identified that there are 3 main categories of filing style that people fall into. So there's the early birds, and they're the people who file their returns immediately that they become available. So you can file a tax return any time from the 6th of April, because that's when the tax year changes. So there are people who log on the 6th of April and they will file the return. So they would have done that on the 6th of April 25, and that would have been them declaring their income from the 6th of April 24 up until 5th of April 25. And a lot of people will do that if they're due a refund, obviously, because if you're due money back, it's better off in your pocket, right? So they'll do it right away. Then we have the dippers. They're the people who will register. They'll maybe put in a little bit of information. They might fill in the easy bits, your name and address and la 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 and all of that. And then they'll leave it, and then they'll come back, and then they'll do a bit more, and then they'll come back. And then there are the last minute panickers. 31st of January is the deadline for filing, and they'll be the people who'll be sitting there on the 30th getting the return done. What category do you fall into, Cheryl? What's your filing style?
Because I still have a business as well as this job, I fall in that I've not done mine yet.
Well, you've still got time.
I've still got time to get it to my accountant. Yeah, they did ring me and ask me for it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got to be honest. I mean, if there was a fourth category, I would definitely be a kind of Cornish directly person, I've got to tell you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not bad. Like, I've got a lot of the information at hand, but I think about doing it and then I go, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll get right. I'll do that at some point. So, yeah, I haven't done it yet. Don't tell anyone. It's just us, right? Nobody's listening. It's all right.
So what should people do if they can't afford to pay their tax bill by the 31st?
Well, see, I mean, I think we're talking about getting this done in time and all the rest of it, but actually preparation is key with this, and trying to get things done as soon as you can is key. And that relates to paying for it as well. So I would say if you're thinking about this, and one of the reasons you're putting it off is thinking, I really don't know if I can pay that, get the tax return filed as soon as possible. Because apart from anything else, you need to know what it is that we're talking about as regards to what the bill looks like. And sometimes you don't actually have an accurate picture of what that's going to be until you file it either. So you can catastrophize and think, oh God, it's going to be massive and I won't be able to manage. But actually, because it's, self-employed income and all of the expenses come off, and we take all of your income into account and all of the tax you've paid into account, sometimes it's less than you think. So get it filed first of all, so that you know what you're dealing with. Once that's done, there are lots of payment options to help you with making those payments. So you can, for example, pay a down payment towards it and then set up a payment plan for the rest, or you can set up a payment plan for the whole bill. And in most cases, you can actually do that online now as well once the return's filed. You don't even need to speak to us. So file it as soon as possible. If it's done before the end of December, it can sometimes be collected through your tax code if you've got other income and you've got one of those. And if it's the case that you can pay this bill, but you're thinking, I don't want to be in this position next January. I don't want to have to find all this money at a time of year that, everybody's struggling a little bit for cash. We've also got budget payment plans where you can pay in advance towards the bill for next year. And they're really great because they're completely voluntary. So you can stop and start those whenever you want. You can pay in a £5 1 month, a £10 a bit more the next month, whatever suits you. And it means that when January rolls around, you've either got the money there for the whole bill or you've got a good bit towards it. And it just makes it a little bit easier for you to manage. So for those, go to gov.uk and search time to pay if it's for the return that you've just submitted, or if you're looking to get ahead of the game and plan ahead, again, gov.uk and search budget payment plan to set one of those up.
And finally, if people want to find out more or get support, how can they do this?
Gov.uk is always where we would direct you to. It's your one-stop shop for everything. And I think really important to always emphasise that, because I know we've spoken before about a lot of these horrible scams out there, and we never want people falling victim to those. So gov.uk is the place to go. That's where you would check if you need to do a self-assessment in the first place. That's where you would file the return, and that's where you would get links to webinars, help sheets, all of those kinds of things. YouTube channel is also there for you with lots of useful videos. HMRC Gov UK is the name of the YouTube channel, and there's lots of self-assessment videos on there. The app, if you don't have that, do download it. It's free, it's secure. It's available from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, depending on your device. Download that. There's lots of links and advice in there. And of course, our phone lines are always there for you as well. If you need to speak to us, please do get in touch. Always happy to help you.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, so you're listening to NEWSWAVE here on Chaos Radio with me, Tom Howe. I've got a question for you. Do you have a real Christmas tree this year? If so, you could get it recycled with Just Helping, as they have partnered with Biffa and Children's Hospice Southwest again this year to pick up your leftover trees in return for a donation. Alongside this, the team at Little Harbour, based in Porthpean, are busy organising fundraising events such as Breakfast with Santa for local businesses and making the hospice extra festive for the children and families they support. Here to tell us more is area fundraiser Amanda Masters.
NEWSWAVE.
So for people with real Christmas trees this year, Just Helping are an organisation that help charities to collect real Christmas trees in return for a donation. So this year we are partnering with Biffa again. They have kindly collected Christmas trees for us for the last couple of years, and they do this for free. So they send volunteers in their Biffa lorries to collect Christmas trees, and it's a great way for people to be able to recycle their Christmas tree and to donate to Children's Hospice Southwest.
So staying on the festive theme, you have Breakfast with Santa, a chance for businesses to bring a bit of festive cheer to the office while helping you out. How can people get involved with this?
Yeah, so we've got some fantastic campaigns coming up this Christmas, and Breakfast with Santa is a great way for businesses to get involved. So if you are getting your teams together for an end-of-year meeting, or whether you have a festive breakfast or even a lunch, it's a great way to bring everybody back to the office, supply a nice breakfast for your team, and we supply a Santa suit. So the fun with this is that you nominate a Santa to attend the breakfast, which is always great. It's normally the managers or the CEO of the business or something like that, just to have a bit of fun. Encourage your team to get a fancy dress, wear your Christmas jumpers, wear your Christmas earrings, that type of thing, and for people to make a donation, again, to our very special cause, Children's Hospice Southwest. So we've got two really great festive things to do. So whether you're in the community and you've got your real Christmas tree, it might be that you don't get your green waste collected by the council. So this is a great way for people that haven't got their trees collected through the council to get them picked up for the charity. So that's a way to support in the community. And obviously we've got our Breakfast for Santa for our businesses to support us.
We can imagine you've been busy bringing festive sparkle to our local hospice with Christmas decorations. How's it going?
Oh, Christmas is a very special time of year. So Little Harbour is our Cornish Children's Hospice in Porthpean. And over the last week, we have been very, very busy elves making the hospice look really magical for our children and families. So we are currently looking after 109 children across Cornwall and Plymouth that come to Little Harbour. And through December, we try and welcome as many children and their families into the hospice as we can throughout the festive period. So our Christmas decorations go up nice and early so we can bring festivities to as many children as we can this Christmas. Because the reality of a children's hospice is that some children may not have a proper Christmas this year. They could be in hospital, they could be at home. So we try and make it as magical as we can so those families can enjoy special memories together.
Children's Hospice Southwest relies on funding year round. What positive impact do the community donations make?
Oh, the community impact is absolutely huge. It costs over £4 million to run Little Harbour alone. Across the southwest, we have our 3 children's hospices in Cornwall, Devon and Bristol. But of course, for us down here, it's so important. And the Cornish community really does get behind Little Harbour. And the money comes in from various ways. We get money from businesses, we get money from our lottery, we have our Children's Hospice Southwest charity shops across the county. So there's many, many ways that the money comes in, whether it's in memory of somebody, whether it's through legacy and gifts and wills. So the income streams come in from lots and lots of different areas of the community. We do get a very small percentage from the government. Last year it was 11%, but we can't rely on this money. So that's why it's so important for everybody to support local charities. And we encourage people, if they want to learn more about our special cause, to go on our website, www.chsw.org.uk. And that's where you can sign up for our tree cycle scheme. If you want to recycle your Christmas tree, you can also sign up there for our Breakfast with Santa. And there's lots and lots of amazing, inspiring family stories on our website. So if you want to hear and read for yourself the amazing impact that their donation will have, this is a great way to learn more about our special cause.
Of course, one of the big things about this year also, again, has been your bike ride. And I know that one of our team, our very own Tom Howe, is getting involved. I think somewhat we sort of encouraged him, Amanda, at the event to sign up, didn't we?
We certainly did. It was fantastic to have you there, and so amazing that Tom felt inspired to sign up and join our Ride for Precious Lives next year. For those that don't know, it's a 3-day cycle at the beginning of July in 2026, and it's very special because the participants cycle to our 3 hospices. So it is quite a challenge. On average, you're cycling between sort of 60 and 70 miles a day. So it is a challenge, but a fantastic cause. And when you're cycling up those hills and thinking of the families that you're supporting while you're raising money over that weekend, it is a great challenge to give yourself. We do have very limited spaces left. So if anybody's looking for a new challenge next year, we've got 10 spaces left, and we do anticipate those to be snapped up pretty quickly once January comes and people are looking for a new year sort of challenge. So yes, if anybody would like to find out more, again, you can find out more on our website, or for any sort of further advice, give Little Harbour a call. We're an amazing fundraising team. We're here to support you, and we're all so grateful for any support that you can give to Children's Hospice South West.
Of course, the beauty about next year is that they'll be finishing at Little Harbour as well. So, I think maybe some of the Chaos team might have to come and wave a few flags or something for him.
Definitely. Yeah, it would be lovely to give them a warm Cornish welcome home for sure.
Finally, how can more people get involved and support you all year round? What top tips would you give people?
Yeah, I would say our top tips for fundraising is make it fun. If you are looking to make yourself feel good, if you are looking to give somebody, extra support through a charity, fundraising really does not only help the charity, but it makes you feel really good that you've given back to somebody in the community, that you've helped somebody in need. So I do really encourage, especially at this time of year, it's a very charitable time of year. People are willing to give and want to make a difference. So next year, if you are looking for a challenge, please do get in touch, whether it's joining our Rainbow Run, whether it's jumping out of a plane to do a skydive, whether it's joining our Ride for Precious Lives. There are so many ways that people can get involved in the community and through your business. So if you're listening to this and you want to give back, please do get in contact with your local fundraiser through Little Harbour.
NEWSWAVE.
Last but by no means least this week, the inclusion of artificial intelligence has caused protests and activism in Falmouth. The original focus was on the lack of creativity AI has, but now it has shifted to the destructive impact it has on the environment. Molly Sexton, a student at Falmouth University, reports.
NEWSWAVE.
Falmouth University's new degree in AI has caused a stir not only from the creative industries, but also from a sustainability standpoint. Matt Osmond from the School of Art spoke about the effects large AI developers are having on the world around us.
Humans have come up with this technology, a very specific group of boys, mostly, have come up with a technology made in their own image, which they're now using to colonise and enclose the rest of the world.
According to the United Nations Environment Programme, the development of AI is both hazardous and destructive, with AI infrastructure potentially on track to consume 6 times more water than Denmark, which has a population of around 6 million people. Dr. Jack Furby explains the nature of the development process.
This whole process is very resource intensive. So OpenAI model GPT-4 was estimated to use somewhere between 50 and 62 gigawatt hours of electricity just to train the model. So that is the equivalent of powering about 1,000 houses for a year.
Matt refers to the idea of AI being a widening straw to drain resources.
We need to pay attention to what has happened and what is happening. There's a phrase that the systems theorist Nate Hagens uses is a widening straw. If our digital technology has mostly been the development of an ever more sophisticated straw through which to suck Earth's living resources and turn them into economic growth, AI is an exponential widening of that straw.
Jack agrees with the intensity of the effects AI is having on the environment, but outlines a few ways that AI can be developed to reduce this damage.
There's only a few companies that will have the ability to train these. So you don't actually end up with a lot of people doing this very resource-intensive creation of models. You can make them in other ways. So for instance, one of them is using a technology called RAG, or retrieval and generation, which is where you take one of these already trained models and you allow it to have extra insight into what you're doing, and in theory have a more personalized model for a particular task or agent in this case.
The overall view is still decidedly negative. However, there is still hope, whether it's through a total resistance to AI, as Matt suggests, or more sustainable development techniques.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, that's all we've got time for on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to community champion Michael Bunney, to John Brown, CEO of Cornwall Chamber of Commerce, to Kasia Elliott, General Manager at Fowey Hall Hotel, Ruth Forrest from HMRC, Amanda Masters, an area fundraiser at Children's Hospice Southwest, and to Falmouth University student Molly Sexton too. And as ever, a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaosnews.uk. Now remember, if you have a local news story that you'd like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. That's it. You're up to date here on Chaos. I'm Tom Howe. Thank you so much for listening. Whatever it is that you're doing in the community this week, be sure to add a little chaos.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.